Again, guys, welcome back to League of Legends Learning League, or Definitive Esports League of Legends Learning League. It is L3IRD, the Burgundian's words for that Season 3 incoming episode today. 28th episode of November 19, 2012, and it's a really interesting time for us before or in pre-season 3, I guess if you want to call it that, or before season 3 supposedly starts. It's really interesting because everything, everything, even the way you play, the way you imagine your items to be, set up, is gonna be changed. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be all new, and it's gonna be like shocking to everyone in this game because literally, like, you usually play. Okay, here's a usual standard situation. You start off the game, you get boots in 3 pots for mid lane, top lane, and bottom lane. You get 3 wards, 1 fairy charm, and 2 pots for that support. That's the usual way, right? But now you're starting off with this thing called Explorer Wards. Now you're starting off with the item biscuit. Now you're starting off with boots and 4 pot or 3 wards now. A lot of differences, a lot of changes could be happening even from level 1 on. And just reiterating, that was what part 1 of this episode was kind of about, just all the changes and a general brief outlook. For part 2 of the episode, we're just looking into a specific matchup. Looking at the bottom lane, we're looking at Mr. Kog'Maw, who is going pretty slow actually right now. Weird. Kog'Maw versus the one and only Vayne. I'm going to be skipping over actually to about the 14-minute mark. But what we're going to be talking about is actually the item difference. Again, nothing's finalized in PvE. Everything's still the same per se. That could be happening soon. But we're going to be talking about the one, the only, well, I can't even spell it out, Phantom Dancer, which is now a 2800 cost item. Does have that 50 attack speed debuff from 5%, and that -7% magnet speed debuff. Phantom Dancer, compared to the newest item on the block, the toolkit item that everybody would want to buy, again, is Rudin Hurricane for the 80 carriness. Because it is 73% attack speed buff, plus you get that extra attack damage with those 2 minor bolts firing from the side. Let me give you the link to that, especially in the YouTubes. I'll put that in the VOD, but to the chat room for those who want to actually check out the new items and such. But why the kind of difference? Why the fight between those 2 items, Rudin Hurricane, and Phantom Dancer? I mean, Phantom Dancer is a really good item on its own, right? Like, could still have a really good movement speed base. 5%, I mean, it's not much, but it's good. 55% attack speed, still really good. Critical strike, I mean, critical strike rate, that's always good. And that's like a technical thing that you would always want to build into, especially for Kog'Maws in the early go. But, I don't know, Hurricane seems like a good idea for some people. I don't know why, supposedly. A lot of people would want to buy it, but, it's a good item per se, especially for people that can split push really hard or can push really hard. I mean, if you saw the item preview change, I think it was Merla or somebody from Riot put it on. You saw like, oh, it could be good with Varus, it could be good with Ashe, it could be good with some other people. Kog'Maw is just another one of those awesome people that can take advantage of Rudin Hurricane. So right now Kog'Maw is only actually building up to a recurve bow. The item cost or the recipe is a recurve bow, 2 daggers, and the recipe cost. So that's the cost of, I think, what, 2400? That's what we said, 2100. So yeah, we'll get into that in a second. But first things first. The first thing you would want to buy with Kog'Maw, or technically probably with Ashe, moreover, is still that big attack damage item. Affinity Edge is now costing about 3750, so it's about 3810, 60 gold off of what it was before, so that's really cool. Or you would be buying up to a Bloodthirster, so albeit Mr. Kog'Maw over here not building up into any of that, he's building up to a newer item called the Blade of Rune King. Gives attack damage and gives lifesteal, so pretty much what a Bloodthirster would do. So, albeit this is not the best control kind of subject that you would want to actually test it on, but it's on there. It's there. So yeah, so he's going to be building up to that little item first. So again, taking all that cost effect. Again, if you're going to Phantom Dancer still first as well as a core item. Secondly, for Kog'Maw, you would want to go Phantom Dancer first. So that kind of throws it out a little. But if you're going like Varus or if you're going like Ashe, you would want to build your AD item first and then your attack speed item. So just take that into effect. So the biggest thing that Run into Hurricane doesn't have is that movement speed buff. Although the movement speed buff for Phantom Dancer now at 5% isn't that big, so it'll be a very small movement speed buff, but it's still a movement speed buff that's there. There's these new things called the third tier enhancement of boots. Führer, Alaki are pretty much the two that we'll pretty much talk about because those are the two that mostly everybody will use. Safeguard or Home Guard is pretty cool. The other two I don't remember off the top of my head are pretty cool as well, but those are the two that are pretty much the ones that you would want to use. Alaki is I think 5% extra movement speed buff, so that's pretty much what it was for that Phantom Dancer. And Führer is the 12% movement speed buff for after attacking, so pretty much while in combat you get that attack speed buff, no problem. So that is another thing that you're going to have to add into effect of the costs. Again, another tier 3 kind of update. Tier 3 boots actually update to about 650 for gold cost right after you buy into your second tier boots. So that's another cost little thing in the end. So let's just add that 650 into it to that cost of 2100 for Run into Hurricane. So you're paying 2750 right now, pretty much for what you could get for that Phantom Dancer, which is now a little bit more costly, 2850. So you pay for the attack speed with that Fierce boots pretty much to get a little bit more, sorry, not attack speed, a little bit more movement speed into yourself so that you can kind of edge out that the Phantom Dancer and that movement speed right there. Run into Hurricane and about to be belt. I'm just skipping right to it because yeah, it's kind of pointless to kind of just look through without having Kog'Maw actually have that same item. So there you go with that. Real quick. So Kog'Maw's back. With Run into Hurricane, again, Run into Hurricane splits off into a 2 arrow shot, 70% attack speed buff, so you get that extra 15% attack speed, plus you're building up to Fear's boots, which is going to be another like 10 or 15% movement speed. So you're getting 2 out of the 3 without the critical strike in the end. Only problem is, yeah, the critical strike is a little bit different of a maker, and right now, you know, you're seeing that right now with Vayne. Although Vayne just disappeared into thin air right there because of the awesome York right over here. But, you know, overall in general, you're going to get that damage coming out from Vayne still a little bit more, I guess, consistent because you have that critical strike chance that you can do a little bit more damage onto the team. So really cool to see that Phantom Dancer being built out, now having also Black Cleaver, which is actually another item we'll probably have to get a look into later runs about for 80 carries that want to take that first damage item. But we're talking about just speed right now. Run into Hurricane right now with that boots is decently good. Decently doing good. 90% attack speed upgrade for Mr. Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw now at 1.7 attack speed, which is nothing to edge off about. It's actually really good. And the damage output 134, it's not the greatest attack damage because he didn't pick up a certain like IE, Infinity Edge, or Bloodthirster, but it's still decent enough that he is doing enough damage per about 2 seconds, just getting into it, and then into waves where you can just clear out all these waves really, really quickly. It's really good stuff in the end of it also. For some of these characters, I really agree, Run into Hurricane should be the way to go, but more oftentimes than not, especially in competitive play, unless the competitive players actually get into, you know, trying out the Season 3 new items, they're still going to be building out to that Phantom Dancer, to that awesome, you know, usual thing right over there to, yeah, 2 boots, Phantom Dancer, and get some awesome damage with that Bloodthirster or Infinity Edge. Again, one of the newest items to really try out is one of those awesomeness with Run into Hurricane, but also with Phantom Dancer as well. Phantom Dancer now having that collision ignore, really, really awesome as well, because you can just go through and pretty much just go down and work down into anything. Especially with Yi, especially with anyone that does do like the dunkage, like a driver in the 4th or so. Probably the best idea to actually pick up Phantom Dancer for them. And I feel like Phantom Dancer is more of a bruiser item. As well as still, it can still be an 80 carry item for some others. I mean, Reddened Hurricane is only one of the new items that upgraded that has a new attack speed buff. But per se, it's nothing too different. What characters would this be lackluster for? I feel like I tried it out with Graves, did not work out with Graves at all. They're not actually the greatest at all. I feel like, yeah, people that don't attack too fast or don't have attack speed buff, technically it works with Ashe only because she does have that frost arrow, so frost arrow does proc off 3 times. But overall, I don't think it would work out for the more traditional AD carries like Ezreal. Ezreal wouldn't really benefit from it, although it has a lot of AD spells. Doesn't really do too much with the auto attack unless he has that special attack speed buff. Pretty much overall in general, anything that really relies on attack speed. So Varus is really good with it. Ezreal could be good with it, but then again, he needs some mojo to actually start off with it. And his passive only gives him about 50% attack speed, but he has to keep on attacking with his spells and actually landing with his spells. So it's a lot to actually invest into. And again, if you do go run into Hurricane, we were just talking about how much the items cost are pretty much together, because you do have to go into Boots 3 really fast, and on top of that you do have to go into maybe a critical strike item per se. It's gonna be a little difficult to try to get off of it. Like, say you want to go run Hurricane and then you want to go like Phantom Dancer because you think it's bad. I mean, Phantom Dancer is only about 20, it's 2800. You're gonna be 900 off with just selling off the run into Hurricane. So I would say that if you are going down this road, you have to precursor it really early and you have to actually commit to it because there's no way you can back off it. Although, I mean, you can't really back off from any build items pretty much when you go into it. At least with like Doran's Blade and stuff, you can resell it back, but even then, it's just not the funnest of times. So right now we do see the red team now pushing up finally. Don't think they're having too much of a problem right now. I mean, the only big thing that this problem is this Kog'Maw does not have that much damage. 137 on the 80 damage is pretty low at this tournament stage where it is about 29 minutes. It's not only because of Run into Hurricane, because the Run into Hurricane doesn't give you the critical strike to give you more damage, but it's also because he's only built into a Blade of Ruin King, which is 40 attack damage plus lifesteal. Does have a really cool active, but you know, he only has 40 attack damage up with the items of a GA being built up right now. It's like, well, I can do damage fast, but I can't do damage too much anymore. So I don't know, not the smartest of ideas in builds. While we do see the Vayne actually building up to that Ruined King probably as well. It does have that Black Cleaver. And Black Cleaver, again, is probably going to be a notion of an item to actually be talked about to be changed up in that little 1, 2, 3 tier of what do we want to have for the damage items. Really quickly, Black Cleaver was thought to be a mid-game item, and that's only it. You could only do it with a few bruisers, and technically a few AD carries. Corki was one that I'm a Cutie Pie would usually use it on. Vayne was one where he would use it on as well. It's very, very useful. Kind of damage down item. Now with the extra bonus of having the cooldown reduction, that's really, really useful. 10% cooldown reduction. On top of that, the 10 armor penetration flat is actually pretty strong. So I like what Riot did with the Black Cleaver. I like what they did to help it out. Could be still really only a mid-game item because again, stats aren't super overwhelming. They do damage, but they don't do too much of damage per se. It's just at 50 attack damage, and then on top of that, you only get 10 armor penetration. It's not the same as it used to was, but it is definitely a good item nonetheless. The other thing I wanted to talk about for attack damage items per se would be that Bloodthirster and Infinity Edge. Infinity Edge did get a nerf down and to gold, so that's really cool. Does have a little bit less attack damage, does have a little bit less critical strike chance, but it's still a really great item. Bloodthirster on the other end raised up its value so high. Sorry about that. because of how they changed lifesteal. Vamp Scepter now you have to build a longsword before you can build a Vamp Scepter. Vamp Scepter costs about 900 gold, and now you have to have is it 17? It's about 1550 for that BF sword. So yes, BF sword's a little bit different and a little bit costs less, but lifesteal costs so much more in the tree of gold. And it's going to be really hard to be efficient and to actually buy into anything of lifesteal. So again, Bloodthirster, it's a pretty good item. 70, you start off with 70 attack damage onto a Bloodthirster with 12% lifesteal, but you only get 30 charges, so you can only get a maximum of 100 damage onto it, which is the same as before. But lifesteal is the same as before too, because it only goes up to 15%. So overall, you still get the same stats, but you get less, I guess, for more per se as well. So yeah, pretty much what Renan's Hurricane is and what the new items are doing to AD carries in general right now. They're gonna give thoughts about like where you're gonna go progress with build, stuff like that. There's so many items for both teams or for both AD carries that the traditional AD carry can still go traditional and go down, get that Blade of Ruin King, but on top of that gets Black Flavor as well. Very good stuff to come and kill off from. But overall in general, it's still gonna be a learning experience for everybody in the game of League of Legends to actually figure out where where do we want to go from here to actually change up and beat out each other in the faces literally. But not lastly, but not leastly, I'm gonna go kind of fast forward it one more time. Sorry about these like time lapse skips. They're interesting per se, but hold on, bam. I just want to see how Kog'Maw. Well, he has a really interesting build, right? We're gonna follow this Kog'Maw. He has a really interesting build. He has a Thorn Mail. He has only boots 2. Doesn't have boots 3 just yet. So he's not even to the clue of the fact that he needs to actually move his speed to help him out. But it's cool. He has Gunsu's Rage Blade, which got a little bit of a boost because it has that extra attack speed plus lifesteal plus spell vamp of that unique passive. So that's cool. But yeah, we'll see how the Storm Mail will work out for Mr. Kog'Maw, who's very tanky and very damagey. But overall, in general, I mean, Renan's Hurricane is gonna be something that you want to try out when you finally get to play it. I would say it's a kind of overhyped item. I would say because the 70% attack speed is really cool, but the biggest thing about it is the wave cooler that you can get from the extra bolts that fire out of it. So I would say that if you're a top laner that has attack damage and that is ranged, so technically top lane Vayne, top lane Corki, Jace that could work it out as well. It'd be really useful to actually push down onto. But overall, I feel like it's supposed to be the actual addition onto its Ionic Spark, and I feel like it's a unwanted addition technically to the game of League of Legends. But by all means, that doesn't mean that it's a really unuseful item. It's a really great item, and I feel like it's going to change the meta of where we see AD carries go on from. So overall, in general, that is pretty much just a small glimpse of what we're looking at for Season 3 that's incoming soon. I mean, again, if you want to look at the item list of all the changes, you can check it out over on Reagan Gaming. There's other sites that have it as well, or you can go on PBE, check it out onto there. But literally, there's tons of new things that we're going to be looking at. And you know what? We're going to be checking each and every episode from now until pretty much when Season 3 starts. We're going to check out what we're going to get out of each item in each episode of, well, we used to go this one item. Why don't we go this item now? Now we're going to talk about supports next week. I don't know if it's going to be the best of ideas to really clear it off, but we're going to have this new item. I think it was Nami he built it this time. Nami built it wasn't Nami who built it. Oh well. But he built a very awesome item. Not this Nami, but there's another Nami that built it. Built an awesome item that actually gives a ally removal of all stuns, debuffs, and all the other good jazz. Plus gives a big heal as well. Could be used for a lot of non-sustained lanes, but also could be used in that mid to late game status where, technically you would build into for support maybe a Randuin's Omen, maybe into a Locket of Iron Solari, if anything, to just try to save them lives. Now you have this heal kind of buff, plus on top of that you have a cleanse removal. It's pretty nasty and really cool to see that little change into support. So we're going to be looking into that next week, as well as the early game to mid game changes, Ruby Sightstone, the Sightstone itself as well. How that's going to really affect into the plays over in that bot lane. Overall, in general, thank you again for watching. It has been the episode of the 28, number 28, of the 28, same thing, of Season 3 incoming. Again, it has been L3RD just chilling out with y'all again. Go ahead and check out the sponsors on below. Mad Catz, Triton, BenQ, Antec, and XMG. But also check out the awesome page of Definitive Esports, d-esports.com, for any of your updated news onto SC2, League of Legends, EVE Online, and other things like CSGO and other good esports titles as well. But also check out, the website as well for the streams if you want to learn more about StarCraft 2. You can check out Chobu to Gosu, or if you want to learn about CSGO, you can check out the cast that happened with the one, the only James Banks. Pretty much whenever they do have it for the GESL. But other than that, thank you again for watching. It has been L3RD. You can go check me out personally, facebook.com/L3RDgaming. But it's going to be a fun one, and it's going to be a really great Season 3 coming up. So you better get into it, and you better get into it live. Again, if you want to check out the PvE stuff, I'll put it, or if you want to get into PvE, hopefully, I can put that link onto there as well. But overall, have fun with what is left of preseason 3. And once Season 3 happens, we all better get learning. Have a good one, guys. L3RD, gonna be finally out.